Today, we're diving into a real head-scratcher, a speech that had everybody talking and left quite an impression. It all went down at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention, the NABJ, back in July 2024. Now, Trump's relationship with the media, especially black media, has been, shall we say, complicated. He's called journalists the enemy of the people, and his administration hasn't exactly been known for its transparency. A name unknown, the case of Sonia Massey. Now, before we get into the thick of Trump's speech, we got to talk about Sonia Massey. Sonia was a 36-year-old black woman, a mother, a daughter, a friend. She was shot and killed in her own home by an Illinois police officer. Her death, like so many others, sparked outrage and grief, a painful reminder of the dangers facing black people, especially at the hands of law enforcement. Her name, like those of Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, and so many others, became a rallying cry for justice. But Trump, he did what he does best. He dodged. He claimed he wasn't familiar with the case, that he didn't have enough information to comment. From his comments about the Central Park Five to his reluctance to condemn white supremacy, it was a reminder that their voices, their stories, their lives just didn't matter to him. Section 3. She happened to turn black, unpacking a loaded statement. Now let's talk about that phrase, she happened to turn black. I mean, where do I even begin? First of all, it shows a fundamental misunderstanding of race and identity. Being black isn't like catching a cold. It's not something that just happens to you. It's about heritage, about culture, about lived experiences. Kamala Harris was born to a Jamaican father and an Indian mother. She grew up embracing both her black and South Asian roots. To suggest that she only recently turned black is not only ignorant but also deeply offensive. Section 1. A loaded phrase, the introduction of black jobs. Now, just when you thought things couldn't get any more baffling, Trump decided to introduce a new term into the mix, black jobs. Y'all, I'm not making this up. He actually used that phrase in 2024 like it was a real thing. And the thing is, it's not a new tactic. We've seen this throughout history, this idea that black people are only good for certain kinds of jobs, that they don't have the skills or the intellect to do anything else. Section 5. A history of division black jobs in the context of American racism. And let's not forget the historical context here. When Trump talks about black jobs, it's hard not to think about the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow, when black people were forced into certain roles and denied the right to pursue their own dreams. It's a reminder that we're still grappling with the effects of that history, that racism is still embedded in our systems and institutions. Trump, in his own words, declared himself the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. I mean, he said it with a straight face, like it was just a fact, as plain as the nose on your face. Section 3, the Lincoln comparison, a distortion of history and legacy. So, to compare yourself to Abraham Lincoln, the man who issued the Emancipation Proclamation, who helped to end slavery in this country. And let's not forget about Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ, the president who signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. These landmark pieces of legislation helped to dismantle segregation, to protect voting rights, and to create a more level playing field for black Americans. Now, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the black journalists who were in that room facing Trump head on. They didn't back down. They didn't shy away from asking the hard questions, from holding him accountable for his words and his actions. They knew the weight of the moment, the importance of representing their communities, of ensuring that black voices were heard. And they did it with grace, with integrity, and with an unwavering commitment to truth. So, where do we go from here? Well, I believe it starts with each and every one of us. We have to use our voices, our platforms, our resources to speak out against injustice, to amplify marginalized voices, and to hold those in power accountable. We have to vote like our lives depend on it, because they do. We have to stay engaged, stay informed, and never give up on the fight for a more just and equitable future. Because, as Dr. King once said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And y'all, we're gonna keep on bending that arc until justice rolls down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. Thank y'all for listening.